Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today I want to check out 3 figures from the Netflix He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series. This wave is like shipping together, so I just thought it would be cool just to go ahead and knock these all out in one video. We're going to be taking a look at the new Savage Eternia branded Mer-Man, Hordak, and He-Man. This is from the latest season of the Netflix CGI animated series. And honestly, I don't know if we're getting any more than this. This could be sort of like the wind down for this particular toy line here. But one of the things I was pretty excited about, honestly, is this Mer-Man. I actually really like this Mer-Man redesign, so I'm excited to check this one out. Hordak is a nice little addition here as well. So you'll notice that they did alter the packaging for this. If you've been paying attention to this line or seeing it on shelves at Walmart, which those have been sitting there for quite some time at this point, unfortunately. They did kind of change this up where we've got this new Savage Eternia nameplate on the bottom here. The top of the cards do feature images of the characters as they appeared in the animated series in the newest season. And then rotating around to the back, it does look just like what we've seen before, where it just kind of shows you the figure that's included with a very tiny cross-cell down here at the bottom. So this is pretty cool. Includes Leviathankin. And then Hordak says includes Imp Bat. They actually named this bat Imp, which is pretty fun. And then He-Man includes a little tiger cub, which is adorable. So let's go ahead and get these guys pulled out of the packaging, and we will take a closer look at them. Alright, let's go ahead and start with a look at our new He-Man figure. If you are not at all familiar with these guys do measure at 5.5 inches tall. So, even though they stylistically look different since they're based on that new animation, they're in scale with vintage Masters of the Universe, and they actually will stand with those quite well. It's just proportions are very different, obviously, since we're based more on that animation, where we've got these large upper bodies, smaller legs, and then small little heads. But if you like the animation, these are honestly pretty cool figures, and I think they do a good job of capturing the fun of that series. Now, we've had no shortage of He-Mans in this line. I mean, every He-Man line has tons of variants of the main character, but this one does seem excessive. We have lots of them in this line. This new one here does have some new things going on compared to the vintage ones. For instance, even though his legs are all just like non-painted black, like look at it, it's just molded in black, all the way down to his boots. But you can see there are some different sculpted details in here, almost like he's got armor on his legs or some sort of like design worked into the pants there. The belt and everything does look the same, though we do have what looks like some added details on the body there under the harness. But where it really is different is on the arms. You'll notice his upper arms are armored, so they're gold. There's some sculpted plating on there, and where it's extra cool is on the shoulders, where he's got this really cool tiger mold. So, you know, like the Green Tiger Clan. Pretty cool stuff. I actually like those shoulder armor pieces quite a bit. That looks really cool on there. I will say one thing to point out is that the exposed part of his neck that's up here on the top of the torso is definitely painted on over black, and it's noticeable because the paint tone is slightly different from the molded paint color of the head there. And there's a little bit of that black peeking through. Anytime you paint the light colors over black plastic, it doesn't always work that well, so that is a bit noticeable on there. But otherwise, I mean, he's sturdy. The articulation is exactly what you would expect from these figures. It's not super articulated by any means, but there's a good amount of articulation. And one thing to note, these figures no longer have the Power Punch action feature. All of the figures in this line so far have had the spring-loaded waist where it would snap back with a twist or spring forward if you pulled his waist back, but this one is a standard articulated torso, which depending on your feeling on the action features could be a positive thing, so that's kind of cool. Now, he does come with the same style power sword that we've seen with all the other figures. It looks like it's just the exact same mold, still has the peg so that you can plug it onto his back if you want to, and of course he can hold it very nicely in his hands. He gets a really good grip on it there. Now, he does come with one additional accessory, which I absolutely love. It's a green tiger cub. Very cute. Of course, the Green Tiger Clan was like a big part of this show, and I think that's pretty fun to explore that side of Eternia a little bit more, and of course, Adam's kind of relation to it. So we get a cute little green tiger cub. He's not articulated. You can see he is a little pliable in the legs and the tail, but he's adorable. I think he's a really great little added bonus accessory with this figure. Next up, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Hordak here. Now, Hordak is a bit taller, standing almost right at the 6-inch mark. So, like, if I bring in He-Man here, you can see that he does stand taller than He-Man. And, of course, this new design for Hordak does lean him out. He is much skinnier. He's not like big buff Hordak from Filmation or the vintage toy line. Reminds me a bit about the way they redesigned him for the new Princesses of Power Netflix series. But he does have a little bit more of a classic Hordak look in that he's got like the blue spiked mohawk. He's got the big long pointy ears. Honestly, like looking at the face, this guy still looks like Hordak. It's a pretty fun design. The details on the face are a bit soft. Like the sculpt is there and it's a pretty good looking face, but it is a soft sculpt. So the details, they kind of blend in with this white face. It is a cool pearlized white, and the same on the upper part of the arms there, so it's got like a bit of a shine to it, but definitely some soft details there. Got this new version of the Horde emblem there, the red bat. I like the way it's kind of really like jutting off of the outfit that he's wearing there. And then he's got like these robes on. Now these are all very pliable, very soft plastic, the robes that are hanging down. He just has unpainted blue legs underneath. Minimal articulation. You can actually swivel at the knee, but then there's nothing at the ankles or no actual knee bends or anything like that. So the articulation still functions like the other figures. Arms are really unique too, the way they kind of fade into red, and then he's got, I don't know if those are blue gloves or blue hands. And then of course that brings us to his wings, which if you flip it around is actually a bat. And I found it very interesting that the packaging called this Imp. That's definitely a nod to his little sidekick character from the original Filmation series. Now, in this show, we only saw Hordak briefly, and apologies for the spoiler, but it was a very, very brief thing towards the end, and we actually saw him like change from a bat into Hordak. So I don't know if this is actually supposed to be him turning into Hordak, but it's interesting because it just has a peg on the back, much like He-Man's shield. So you can plug this onto his back, but you'll see it's like a full bat sculpt, and it's molded in this glittery light blue plastic. It's pretty cool looking. So technically he could like hold on to that, and it could kind of be like a shield thing, kind of like on his vintage toy. I mean, obviously not great since he can't like bend his elbows or anything. It's like all the way down here, but it's an interesting little accessory nonetheless. I don't know. I think it's a fun look for Hordak. And I kind of hope we get to explore this character some more. I just don't know if we're going to get the chance to, really. But I saved the best for last because I really like this redesign of Mer-Man. I thought he was a very cool looking character in the show. I thought they added an air of like horror to him. Like he was kind of scary. He had the voice of George Takei. It was really cool, and he translates very well into action figure form, even though there's minimal paint apps. Like most of them is just molded in green, but the paint that is there is very nice because he's got this metallic green torso that's like two tones. So we got metallic dark green and light green with some like pinkish reds kind of peering up. I kind of like the way the red is like frosted there on his ears. He's got those blue eyes in the center there. The rest of his face is like unpainted. I wish there was a little bit more paint deco on there, but the details on the face, on the sculpt, are really, really cool. I just like his face on this particular version of the character. I think he's a really fun design, and I'm really glad we got an action figure of this guy. Big, beefy Mer-Man, but that's pretty cool, like all those vintage versions of these characters were all big and beefy, so it's kind of nice to see Mer-Man done that way in this new version. I think he's a really cool looking character. Just like with He-Man, he does not have like the Power Punch features, so his articulation is actually very nice on here. You can see arms can go outwards, forwards, backwards. You just have a swivel at the wrist. The waist that I showed you. The head is ball jointed though. You're going to get some hindrance because of the collar here, but the ears are a little pliable. so you can bend those. And then the legs will just move forwards and backwards with a swivel at the knee. And then this guy actually does have some swivels at the feet. No actual ankle bends, but we can swivel the feet, which can probably help to keep him standing in some good poses there. And his only accessory is this fun little squid thing here. Now, just translucent green, can clip onto his arm. We did see him do this tentacle thing in the series. I like it. I don't know, this is one thing that I've already been doing. Actually, my kids have been doing this. I think it's funny. Putting it on He-Man's head, like he's become a zombie He-Man. I don't think that's like a real thing, but it's definitely how the kids in my house have been playing with it. So you guys are welcome to take that idea for yourself. Anyway, I think this is a pretty fun assortment of these figures, and really this line, you know, it comes down to how you feel about this series, how you feel about these redesigns. These are certainly made for play in mind, but I do think that this turned out to be a pretty fun line. This feels like we're at the end. I know there's still a couple pieces that I'm planning to take a look at for this series, but we may not be getting more of these. I don't know that for sure, so please don't like quote me on it, but it feels like the end, though we did get teasers. So I do hope the show continues, because I think it's been a lot of fun. Nonetheless, I am glad we got these guys, specifically Mer-Man. I'm glad we've got Mer-Man. Pretty fun stuff. Now, again, I don't know if these are hitting retail stores like the rest of the figures have, but I was able to order mine through BigBadToyStore.com. So happy hunting, my friends, and until next time.